Let's get right into it. Number 9. The Sutton ship burial. Imagine being a farmer in 1939 England, just digging around in some weird dirt mounds on your property. Instead, you stumble upon a massive buried ship filled with enough gold to make a pirate jealous. That's exactly what happened at Sutton. Under layers of dirt, archaeologists found an entire Anglo-Saxon ship that was used as a tomb for a warrior king. Historians used to think that after the Romans left Britain, everyone just forgot how to do everything. They called it the Dark Ages because they thought everyone was just sitting around in the mud being miserable, but this ship burial proved them hilariously wrong. Inside, they found a warrior's helmet that looked like it belonged in a fantasy movie. Among all these Anglo-Saxon treasures, they found silver plates from the Byzantine Empire. That's like finding a Ferrari in a caveman's garage. It meant these people weren't isolated barbarians. They were trading with civilizations thousands of miles away. The ship itself was massive, about 90 feet long. They literally dragged an entire warship up from a river, buried it in a hill, filled it with treasure, and then covered the whole thing up. But the weirdest part is they never found a body. The soil was so acidic it completely dissolved any human remains. So somewhere in that ship, a king's body just disappeared. This discovery forced historians to rewrite everything they thought they knew about this period. Turns out the Dark Ages weren't so dark after all. Number 8. Knossos and the Minoan civilization. Imagine finding an entire civilization that nobody knew existed. A civilization so advanced, it completely changed our understanding of ancient European development. That's exactly what happened when archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans stumbled upon the Palace of Knossos. He found a massive palace complex that made ancient Greek buildings look like IKEA furniture. This place had features we thought weren't invented until thousands of years later. They had multi-story buildings, courtyards, and ancient air conditioning. These guys even had indoor plumbing. That's indoor plumbing when most of the world was still doing their business in holes in the ground. The weirdest part is this civilization was completely peaceful. No walls, no weapons, no war paintings. Nothing. It's like finding a society that spent all their time having parties instead of fighting. Speaking of parties, they were really into bull jumping. They would literally grab bulls by the horns and do backflips over them. The palace itself is like a maze, which actually inspired the myth of the Minotaur. That labyrinth was probably just people trying to describe this massive palace. But we can't read anything they wrote. Their writing system, called Linear A, is still a complete mystery. Imagine finding someone's diary, but every word is in an alien language. The creepiest part is how this advanced civilization just disappeared. One day they're building massive palaces and doing bull gymnastics. The next they're gone. Number 7. The caves of Lascaux and Altamira. Imagine being a teenager in 1940s France, chasing your dog into a hole, and stumbling upon humanity's first art gallery. That's exactly how we found Lascaux Cave. What they actually found were masterpieces painted 20,000 years ago. We're talking about a black bull that's longer than a car, painted with such skill it looks like it could charge right off the wall. And these artists weren't working with fancy brushes and premium paints. They were using crushed minerals and probably their own spit to make paint, by torchlight. Then we have Altamira Cave in Spain. In 1879, an archaeologist named Marcelino was exploring this cave when his daughter looked up and said, "Hey Dad, there are bison on the ceiling." At first, everyone thought he was pulling a fast one. The paintings were so good that scientists refused to believe ancient humans could have made them. They called him a fraud and said he hired a modern artist to paint them. The poor guy died before he was proven right. But these incredible caves are literally dying. Modern humans and their breath, sweat, and germs are basically killing the art. We've had to close both caves to visitors because our breath and body heat are literally destroying the paintings. These caves proved humans weren't just grunting cavemen, they were artists, completely changing how we see prehistoric humans in every museum and textbook. Number 6. Mohenjo-daro. Imagine discovering a 4,500-year-old city that makes modern urban planning look like a kid playing with Legos. This is Mohenjo-daro, and it's basically the ancient world's version of New York City. These guys had a drainage system so advanced it would make a modern plumber cry. While medieval Europeans were still throwing their waste out of windows, these ancient folks had figured out plumbing. Every house had its own private bathroom and wells. They also found this huge public pool called the Great Bath. Scientists think it was for ritual purification. When they were digging, they found scattered skeletons in some rooms. It's like these people just dropped dead where they stood. Some scientists thought it was because of some ancient massacre. Others say it might have been a natural disaster that hit the city. Either way, something made these people abandon their homes so quickly they left everything behind. We still can't read their writing. Imagine building this incredible city, complete with indoor plumbing, and nobody today can figure out what your graffiti says. While everyone was obsessing over Egypt and their pyramids, these folks were living in a city that wouldn't look too out of place today. This discovery proved advanced civilization wasn't just in Egypt and Mesopotamia. It rewrote the entire map of ancient history. Number 5. The Behistun Inscription. Imagine finding the world's first ancient billboard, carved 100 meters up a cliff. That's basically what the Behistun Inscription is, except instead of advertising fast food, it's just Darius the Great bragging about how awesome he is. The inscription shows Darius literally stepping on one of his enemies, but this ancient flex turned out to be super important. The same message was carved in 3 different languages: Old Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian. This helped scholars crack the code of cuneiform writing. Before this, trying to read cuneiform was like trying to decode your doctor's handwriting, basically impossible. Some poor British officer had to climb up this cliff to copy everything down. Imagine risking your life to copy someone else's ancient Instagram post. But thanks to this guy's dedication, we can now read thousands of ancient texts. We learned about wars, trade deals, and even ancient soap operas about kings backstabbing each other, all because some guy decided to carve his achievements into a cliff face. Number 4. Machu Picchu. Imagine building a city so perfect that even earthquakes can't knock it down. That's exactly what the Incas did with Machu Picchu. The stones in these walls fit together so perfectly, you can't even slip a credit card between them. And when an earthquake hits, the stones actually dance. They shift around a bit and then just pop right back into place like nothing happened. It's like they invented architectural Legos 500 years before Legos existed. Under all those beautiful buildings is a hidden world of drainage systems. Basically, they created a giant mountain-sized shower drain that's still working perfectly after 500 years. The entire city is one giant star map. There's this special rock called the Intihuatana stone, basically a sundial on steroids. The Incas used it to track the sun's movement and predict things like when to plant crops. This place was so well concealed that it survived the Spanish conquest. While the Spanish were busy melting down every piece of gold they could find, Machu Picchu just chilled in the mountains, completely undetected. It wasn't until 1911 that some explorer named Hiram Bingham stumbled across it, and when he got there, he found local farmers just casually living among these incredible ruins. This discovery proved the Incas were master engineers, not just mountain people. It changed how the world sees pre-Columbian civilizations forever. Number 3. Olduvai Gorge and the Laetoli footprints. Imagine walking through Tanzania and stumbling upon the footprints of your great-great-great-grandparents from millions of years ago. That's exactly what happened when scientists discovered the Laetoli footprints. These tracks are 3.6 million years old, preserved in volcanic ash like some prehistoric crime scene, and they tell us something mind-blowing. Our ancestors were walking upright way earlier than we thought. The footprints show a heel strike, an arch, and even a big toe that points forward, just like our feet today. Just 45 kilometers away, there's this place called Olduvai Gorge. Scientists call it the cradle of humankind, but it's more like nature's filing cabinet of human evolution. This gorge is 48 kilometers long and drops down over 100 meters deep. Each layer of rock is like a page in history, telling us what our ancestors were up to millions of years ago. They've found over 60 different fossils of our ancient relatives here. They also found some of the oldest tools ever made. Together, these sites are like the ultimate Ancestry.com results. Number 2. The Rising Star Cave System. Imagine crawling through a cave passage barely bigger than your body, squeezing through gaps that would make a claustrophobic person have a heart attack. In South Africa back in 2013, cave explorers stumbled upon something that would change everything. Deep in this cave system, they found a chamber filled with over 1,500 ancient human bones. These belonged to a completely new species of human that no one had ever seen before. They called it Homo naledi, and this guy was weird. Picture having a brain the size of an orange but hands like a modern human. It's like nature couldn't decide what to make and just mixed features together. But the weirdest part is these ancient humans might have been carrying their dead down there on purpose. Small-brained creatures, navigating pitch-black caves, carrying their dead through tiny passages, just to place them in this specific chamber. That's like your cat suddenly starting to organize funerals. Scientists found bones from at least 15 different individuals down there, from babies to grandparents, all mixed together in this underground tomb. The bones show no signs of being washed in or dragged there by animals. This discovery basically took everything we thought we knew about human evolution and threw it out the window. It turns out our family tree isn't a straight line at all. It's more like a messy bush, with different human species living at the same time. Number 1. The Rosetta Stone. Imagine finding a rock that's basically the cheat code to an entire ancient civilization. That's exactly what happened in 1799 when some French soldiers were digging around in Egypt. These guys weren't archaeologists. They were just trying to build a fort. They dug up this massive black slab covered in 3 different types of writing. It's like finding an ancient version of Google Translate carved in stone. The stone had the exact same message written in all 3 languages. One of these was Greek, which scholars could read just fine, but the other 2 were Egyptian hieroglyphs and something called Demotic script. Nobody had been able to read hieroglyphs for over 1,000 years. It was like having a massive library of ancient Egyptian history, but all the books were locked. Then this French guy named Champollion comes along. This dude spent years comparing the Greek text to the hieroglyphs. Finally, in 1822, he cracks it. Turns out these hieroglyphs weren't just pretty pictures, they were actually letters and sounds. Suddenly, all those temple walls covered in hieroglyphs weren't just fancy decoration anymore. They were stories waiting to be read. The actual message on the stone is basically just a boring government announcement about tax breaks. We unlocked thousands of years of Egyptian history, thanks to what's essentially an ancient IRS memo. The French found it, but the British came along and said, "Nice rock you got there. It would be a shame if someone took it." That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.